Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven77. I'm filling in, and this week is Horror Spoof Week. And this was my brilliant idea. I'm going to let you guys know that off the bat. So I thought this would be a good and, well, I don't know about good, but I definitely thought it'd be an interesting challenge for everybody. Let's take a look at some of the good horror spoofs over the decades and see, what, if any, good ones ever came out. And yeah, so this whole thing, you can blame me for it. But anyway, so no, the one I want to talk about though, this movie, as far as I'm concerned, this epitomizes what really makes for a great horror spoof, a great horror comedy. Now, I mean, we all know that blending horror and comedy can be a very touchy thing, and there are times it can be done very well. You can have horror movies with great humor in them, like Tremors or Shaun of the Dead or so on, so on. And then you can have horror movies with really bad humor in them, and it's really hard to find that just that right balance. And this movie, in my opinion, it balances perfectly. You couldn't ask for a better horror comedy, and I would definitely recommend this to anyone. I mean, this to me is kind of like, just, I don't know. It's like if you really wanted to get into horror spoofs, or you wanted to this is just the highest recommendation I can honestly think of. And the movie I'm talking about is Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein. Movie came out in 1976. The movie stars Gene Wilder, and Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks wrote the script. Unfortunately, Gene Wilder or Mel Brooks doesn't appear in the movie, as he's acted in a lot of his movies before. But Gene Wilder is the star, but he has a great cast supporting him. You have Peter. Now all of a sudden his name escapes me. Peter Peter Boyle. Jeez, why the hell did I skip on his name all of a sudden? Peter Boyle plays the monster. You have Terry Garr as the beautiful assistant Inga. You have Igor, Marty Feldman. You have Cloris Leachman playing the character Feldblücher, which there's a great joke. And I mean, anybody who's watched this movie, you know I want to see you not laugh at that whenever they say her name. Every time somebody says her name, Frau Blucher, you always hear this horse whinny, every time. And so it's like, I don't see how you can't not laugh at that. Anyway, but this movie is like, what it does is, and I think this is how you do a good horror spoof, is it has a sense of humor, but at the same time, it pays very, very serious tribute to the classic James Whale's Frankenstein film. The movie is beautifully photographed. They even take great care to film the movie in black and white to give it as much of a authentic. That right there is, it's in the movie, but it's in black and white. It's not in color. But you look here, you see the black and white photographs, and it's clear that Mel Brooks really was really trying to get the feel of the classic Universal monster movie and try to pay tribute to it as best as he could. I mean, even to this. I mean, even to the lengths that Mel Brooks used. One of the best things and one of the most interesting things in this movie is that out of authenticity and respect, is that Mel Brooks used the exact same set in the Universal Studios. He used the exact same set for Frankenstein's laboratory that was used in the original James Whale's classic. And that just goes to show his, just trying to, make a movie that's fun, but try to make a movie that's well made at the same time. Now the story basically is, it's years later. You got this great opening sequence with the great music. John Morris, I believe, does the score. Then we have the character of Victor Frankenstein, but he prefers the name Frankenstein, played by Gene Wilder. And the thing is, it's like the problem with him is that he knows his family's history. He is a descendant of the original Frankenstein, and he knows that his grandfather, what he did, and his experiments trying to reanimate the dead and things like that. And he's he decides that he's not going to go by the name Frankenstein. He doesn't want to be known by that name. He wants to be known as Frankenstein. So he keeps, so it's like throughout the whole movie, well, until at one point he finally does embrace who he is and become the scientist to revive the dead. But for the most part, most of the movie, everybody's, Dr. Frankenstein, he's Frankenstein. And, and like he has the assistant, Igor, but he's like, no, it's pronounced Igor, They told me it was Igor. Well, they were wrong then, weren't they? And so anyway, so he gets his great grandfather's will, and he has to travel to Transylvania. I believe it's Transylvania to get his to claim his estate. So he goes, he travels there. He's got Elizabeth, his fiance, which you've seen that kind of done in like it's a callback to the Mary Shelley book. Was that that sort of similar in the sense that Victor was going to be married to Elizabeth, but they were going to wait until after he got back from taking classes to become a doctor at medical school. But in this, they're going to get married when he gets back from claiming his inheritance and things. And the role of Elizabeth is played by Madeline Kahn, Madeline Kahn is definitely one of the best female comedians of all time. She's super funny. She's great. She's not in the movie a whole lot, but when she's in here, she really does make an impact, and she's wonderful. So Victor, he goes to Transylvania, and he meets his assistant Igor, and he's got another assistant Inga, who's Teri Garr, and Teri Garr, just they don't really show it too much, but like right here, Teri Garr, she looks very beautiful and sexy, and and when she first meets him, she's all like, would you like to have a roll in the hay and all this, and there's a lot of innuendo jokes and things too. But so anyway, so they get to Frankenstein's castle, and so and then like he's like so many good jokes in this movie, man. So many good jokes, like where Igor is like pounding on the door using these huge knockers, and and everything, and he turns around, he's like Victor, he's like trying to help Inga out of the carriage, and as like her bosoms is like right up to his face, and so he's all like, what knockers? And she's like, thank you, doctor. And but anyway, so he goes in, and so he's still he's very adamant. He doesn't he's sure that his grandfather has a private library that he used to conduct his experiments, but Frau Blücher assures him that there is no such thing. And so in the middle of the night, he hears this strange music, and then he's he and Inga and Igor, they all three find each other, and they go down to the this secret library, and it leads to the laboratory, which, like I said, is the exact same laboratory used from the which is exactly used from the James Whale's classic movie. So anyway, Victor, he finds his grandfather's notebooks about how he revived the dead, and so he starts studying up on it and decides he's gonna, he does go around the bend, and he decides he's gonna carry on his great grandfather's work, and so he goes and is getting bodies and stuff and getting everything put together, and so he creates the monster, and in this case the monster played by Peter Boyle, and there's a lot of jokes, but there's so much love and tribute to there's so much love and tribute going in this movie that there's tribute, there's like little Easter eggs that come from other Frankenstein movies. You have the character of the inspector, who's played by Kenneth Welsh, who is modeled after an inspector in one of the other Frankenstein movies, where Frankenstein tore his arm off, so he has like a fake arm. But in this one, it's a wooden arm. He's always like, it's very funny. But but just this movie, it's like, honestly, this movie, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, this movie is made with so much class and style and panache, and for a comedy. And I believe this movie, I want to say that that Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks even got nominated for best screenplay for this movie. I don't know if they won, but I do believe they got nominated for it. But this movie, in glorious black and white. And like I say, when you watch this movie, like I said, it's having fun with the whole it's having fun with the whole universe of the Frankenstein movies, but it's never mean spirited. It never puts it down. It's just good, funny humor, and that's kind of what I enjoy when it comes to spoofs. I'm going to be honest. It's like I like with the Scream movies. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid on those. Particularly the Scream movies, I don't particularly think are all that awesome. I know that's a very controversial statement to make, but just the Scream movies, in my personal opinion, the Scream movies always come off like the old fuddy-duddy of horror movies. These movies kind of feel like when I watch Scream, I kind of feel like I'm being preached down to. Oh, Billy and Stu, they watch those horror movies. If you watch that stuff, you're going to turn around and kill people. So don't watch those horror movies and stuff. That's kind of what I feel like. To me, that's what Scream feels like. It feels like, just like I said, being preached down to that I shouldn't be watching horror movies. This here is like it's never mean spirited. It never talks down on the material. The jokes are very lighthearted, but it pays tribute. It shows love and appreciation for what came before it. And just my personal opinion is like if you're going to do a spoof, like this is how you go about it. Unless you're a filmmaker and there's a movie or series of movies that you absolutely cannot stand and you just want to make a movie that just rips the hell out of it, which, that's been done before too. But, yeah, I definitely recommend this. It's like, I think this is probably easily one of the best, if not the best horror movie spoof of all time. It's right up there with Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. The performances in this movie are amazing. Gene Wilder, I mean, oh my God, did this man ever do a bad role? I don't know if he ever did. Everything I've ever seen him in, he's always been just magnificent. And not only is he a great actor, he was a great writer, a director himself, things like that. And he and Mel Brooks, their collaborations have always been just perfection. Just never anything wrong. Every time the two of them ever collaborated on anything, it was just, I can't say enough good things about it. But this movie is just, but like I said, that's what, because I'm a horror film lover. And like I said, I don't like movies that, that's the thing. I think when somebody looks at a movie like this, I think they're going to be like, oh, this is taking a crap on, classic, Universal monster movies. Like, no, there's a difference. Like I said, to me, that's what Scream does. Scream is like say, oh, if you watch those horror movies, you're going to go out and kill people. This is more like, it's like, we're going to have some jokes, but the jokes are not mean. They're not, we're not telling you don't go watch the other movies or anything like that. It's like, go ahead and watch the movies, embrace them, but we're just having a little bit of a laugh at them. And like I said, just everything about this movie works. Even though the movie's a comedy, the craftsmanship in making this movie is impeccable. Just like right there, just like the matte paintings and things like that, and the attention to detail and everything. It's just, oh my God, I can't recommend this movie enough. This movie is just absolutely brilliant. And if you were ever going to make a horror parody, like this is how you go about it. This is how you do it. Have a little bit of fun with it, but don't sit there and try to don't try to alienate the audience or anything. Have a little bit of fun with it, but show a little bit of respect to it at the same time. So, but anyway, that's about it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't recommend this movie enough. It looks great. It sounds great. The performances, the humor. I will admit that that's probably one thing. This might be a movie you may have to watch, more than once to get some of the jokes in it, but it's worth it. It's worth it just to get the jokes out of it. It's worth it just to see how a great movie was made. And, you even have I almost forgot to mention this. You even have this brilliant, wonderful scene with an uncredited cameo by Gene Hackman, of all people. And he did this because he and Mel Brooks were friends, and he did it as a tribute to Mel Brooks. And the scene it's a funny version of it, but it's paying homage to the scene, and I believe it was The Bride of Frankenstein, where Boris Karloff, he meets this blind man, and the blind man's giving him wine to drink, and he's like, friend, things like that. It's, a wonderful tribute to that, but it's a funnier version of it, and it's great. It's wonderful. I just, oh man, I gotta stop it. I'm gushing all over this movie. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic, and oh man, I want to pop it back in and watch it again. So, but anyway, that's gonna do it. So, if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this week, and you know, yeah, like I said again, if all goes bad, this was my idea, so blame me. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so yeah, thank you again for watching. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different reviewer for every day of the week, doing a different. There's a different reviewer doing a review every day of the week. I'm normally the Saturday reviewer, and that's it. Take care, and I'll see everybody later. Have a good night.